Hi, I'm Nicole Forsyth, Red Rover's president and CEO. Red Rover is trying out a new way of doing strategy to help us map out our planning and our strategy for an 8-year timeframe. So this is breaking down different parts of our organization by our brand and positioning, our strategic partnerships, our channels and markets, our program development and planning, and our culture. So the staff has come up with some vision and strategy ideas for these 5 areas. And we are hoping the board will be talking about these on November 20th. So for brand and positioning, we have a vision to have a strong brand promise that our audiences can clearly understand and want to connect with in order to grow our supporter base. So the strategy with which we envision seeing this vision happen is by strengthening our messaging, really articulating who we are, how we're unique, and how we can communicate our brand promise more clearly. So this might mean needing to reframe what we mean by crisis, what we mean by the human-animal bond in all of our messaging, and how we convey our brand promise to our supporters and followers. We want to be emphasizing inclusivity and the interconnectedness between people and animals. And we believe one way we could do this is through utilizing the messaging around the One Health or One Welfare movement, which is already something taking place more in the veterinary community, but somewhat in animal welfare as well. And this, we think, will help us expand our markets and our audiences, attract new supporters and new partners. For strategic partnerships, our vision is to have major partners across all of our program areas and for each program that align with this brand promise and will help make our brand more well-known to our key audiences, help us increase our reach and our impact and our outcomes through collaboration. The strategy we have so far for doing that is expanding the recognition we receive through our Purple Leash project with Purina, maximize the Purina partnership, leverage this relationship to bring new partnerships into the organization, which we already do, but we think we could do more. And also to use our current network to identify new partners or existing partners that maybe we haven't maximized or done enough with those partners. For channels and markets, somewhat the strategy and vision for our channels and markets may depend on what we decide on with the other 2 strategy elements I just mentioned, but we do want to make sure we are recognized in our target markets once we've identified clearly what are those markets. And we want to be able to expand and refine those channels to either go deeper in those channels or broaden the reach within specific channels based on, again, our brand promise, what makes us unique. When it comes to our programs and planning, we envision a new brand promise that will have a significant impact on improving the lives of millions of people and animals. This includes identifying the root causes of animal overpopulation, abandonment, abuse, and neglect, and seeking to implement effective, innovative solutions that maximize community involvement and collaboration. The solutions implemented will reduce barriers that get in the way of people accessing care and services for themselves, as well as their pets. And that is essentially that One Health, One Welfare concept, as well as reduce barriers that get in the way of developing positive relationships with animals and other people. So this ties into more of our preventative strategies connected to our readers and education work. Red Rover program development and new initiatives will especially examine barriers related to long histories of systemic racism or communities with high populations of underserved people, and seek to involve and empower community organizations and members to become actively engaged with creating the change in their communities that will bring about a higher quality of life for themselves and their pets. So kind of ties in our DEI work, our efforts to be anti-racist, and to really make sure that our volunteers, our staff, our board of directors, our members are more reflective of the communities in which we are trying to serve. Our strategy for doing this new slight revision to our program development is to, we believe we really need to experiment with different models, especially over the next 6 months to a year. But we're open to discussing, more strategies in which we can do this, especially since we really need to prioritize and figure out how are we going to pick specific communities that we want to help and improve. For brand and for brand and positioning, making sure our culture aligns with that brand and positioning and making sure the strategy is clear there. Our vision for that is that staff, volunteers, and other key stakeholders recognize and feel a coherent Red Rover culture as reflected in its brand, values, mindset, behaviors, and actuated through its organizational practices, processes, and all that we do. Red Rover's work environment, whether in person or virtual, or in the field or in an office, feels welcoming to all and is diverse, equitable, and inclusive. We lean into conversations and support each other. Employee engagement flourishes and everyone strives to do their best and be their best each day. So our strategy for making this culture be more of a consistently felt thing, we want to be able to describe, first and foremost, describe our existing culture, and then implement regular staff surveys regarding the perception of culture, and based on survey results, develop objectives to address areas that feel incoherent and update the values, the mindset, and the long-term vision for our culture as necessary. Ask and clarify what policies and practices are important to us and will help codify the culture, make it a lived thing. And how do we want employees and leaders to behave? What work practices will help us achieve this vision for our culture? And we want to make sure we can define the objectives for leaders and managers to achieve that are in line with our culture. And then, of course, continue communicating the progress we're making towards achieving a positive work culture and an inclusive vision. So that is a description of our strategy as we have discussed during the staff strategic planning. And I look forward to talking about this more at our board meeting on November 20th.